we're gonna start off by talking about the Mainz, and then I'm going to send a little bit of a replay to you guys. I'll show you guys how you can take this brand new new hotness ship into action. First things first, just need to mention that this was provided to me for free by Wargaming for review purposes, so big thank you to Wargaming for doing that. Let's talk about the Mainz here. Diesel, are you still in the chat? You are. Alright, I was just going to ask you if you've played the Mainz or if you've played the Hipper or Eugen at all.
I have never played any of those. A clanmate just got the Mainz yesterday, and he seems to really enjoy it. His build, since he's also mostly a co-op player, he did, instead of concealment in slot 5, he did both steering modules, and he can really make that thing dance.
Yes, that is definitely a viable build for this ship. So let's talk about the ship here and what you can expect in it. She is essentially a Hipper hull. So if I flip to the Hipper, you'll note that she looks very similar to the Hipper, and therefore as well very similar to the Prince Eugen. Never mind the 1960s swimsuit camouflage. But anyway, so she does look basically the same, but there's a couple of key differences. One is when we get into her armor layout. You'll note that she's got 25mm bow and side armor, and then 27mm main deck armor. Okay, and that's kind of an important distinction. Now you compare that to the regular Hipper, I guess you could say, to the Hipper, and you can see it's 27s. So that 2mm of armor, extra armor, is actually quite important when it comes to overmatch with battleship caliber shells and that sort of thing. To find the overmatch formula, you take a battleship shell, you divide it by 14.3. So we could also take the plating here and multiply by 14.3. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. So 25 times
386mm.
Right, so 14.3 will, anything above 358mm can overmatch 25mm armor. And then 27 times 14.3 is, right, like you said, so it's 386mm. So that is a distinction in gun caliber right there. Now, on top of that, she does keep a turtle back. If I pop this in here, you can see, just like the Hipper and Eugen, she does have a turtle back as well. And her big distinction is her guns, however. So Hipper and oh, I was showing you guys the armor profile on the Hipper. Lol. So the thing about the Hipper, see there's the turtle back there on the Mainz. The thing about the Hipper and the Eugen is that they are heavy cruisers. They have 203mm guns. Not so with the Mainz. The Mainz has 150mm guns. These are the guns that you find on the Nuremberg, the Tier 6 German light cruiser. You'll note the reload time, 6 seconds. It's quite fast. Of course, these are triple turrets. So instead of firing 8 guns, am I doing my math right? Yes. So instead of firing 8 guns, you're firing off 12 per salvo. And when we look at the Hipper, you'll note that reload time is almost twice that of the Mainz. So not only are you pumping out more shells per salvo, but you're pumping out almost twice as many salvos as well. It's quite spicy. Because she's got the 1/4 HE penetration capabilities, she can pen 38mm of armor. That's huge. That means she does not need IFHE in order to be competitive. If you wanted to, you could throw IFHE on, but I believe you will not earn enough pen in order to make that much of a dent. The other threshold you're going for with IFHE would be 50mm of pen, and let's take a look. So 38 times 1.3 is 49.4. So if you put IFHE on this ship, all you're going to do is pen about the same amount of ships, and you're going to do half the fire chance. So IFHE is not a good choice on this. Torpedoes wise, it's the same kind of torpedoes as the Hipper and the Eugen, although please note that she actually gets one more torpedo in her salvo than either of those two. So there you go. Anti-air defense, I mean, it's a cruiser. Does anti-air really matter these days? I'll just leave it at that. Maneuverability. Now, Diesel Thunder was mentioning with a double rudder layout, you could really make her dance, and absolutely correct. Yes, her rudder shift time stock is 10.5 seconds. If you put double rudder on, well, I could show you guys right now. Let's put steering gears modification 2 on this, so we drop concealment, and drop propulsion and put steering gears modification 1 on it. And look at that, you've dropped her rudder shift time to 5 freaking seconds. 5 seconds allows you to stay at maximum range and dodge all the things if you wanted to. So if you like to play Prince Eugen or Hipper or even Hindenburg or Rune as super long range spam ships with, you know, just rudder to dodge as necessary, you could definitely make that happen. Detectability is 13.4 with the concealment module. Obviously that drops a little bit farther with the concealment expert captain. And you can see the upgrades and consumables that I typically run, premium obviously. I tend to run Hydro on ships unless I need the defensive fire for whatever reason. Side note, upcoming this weekend is Clan Brawl. It will be tier 8. And I have a strong feeling that Mainz will be pretty powerful in that because of that the rate of fire of the shells, and because you can also equip defensive fire, because I believe, if I recall correctly, there are carriers included this time around in Clan Brawl. Now, you can only equip fighter, so you might as well do the premium version. And then again, for upgrades, you can see here what I'm running for my upgrades and the upgrade choices. If you wanted to, you could run anti-air mod, you know, for a competitive environment, sure. But most of you guys, aiming systems is probably good enough. Although that's interesting because how spammy the ship is, this might actually come in very handy against planes, even if you don't use Hydro. This improves your AA sector prep time, so in other words, you can be reinforcing sectors more often, allowing you to put out more damage. I have a general rule. If my maneuverability is about 10 seconds, then I will equip propulsion on my cruisers. Otherwise, I'll put steering gears on. And then you can see here, I mean, this is a meme. This is interesting, but I just don't think it's useful on this particular ship. For exterior, obviously, you can dress her up however you want. But what I would typically do is run your fire chance flags. Flood chance doesn't really matter because if you're in range to use your torpedoes on somebody, they either need to die very quickly or you're dead, so it doesn't matter if you flood them or not. Always run protection, and let's see, speed is good, and consumable reload is okay. It's not incredibly important, but it does help. You could also run anti-air flag too. Secondaries, I just don't see a need for it, so you could also run Hotel Yankee if you want to be that like super aggressive player that goes in and just, you know, blaps people and stuff like that, and, you know, uses the final torpedo. That's fine too. For captains, I'll share with you guys how I have my my special captain set up for him. Where is he? I think I threw him back on the Hindenburg, or no, he's in reserve. I think he's in reserve. Come on. I have too many captains, guys. Where did he go? There he is. I had Gunther Lugens on it. And so here's how I have, this is my Hipper or my Hindenburg captain. So this is a general, like how I would build her. I probably would drop Superintendent. There's no need because there's no heal on the ship. And instead, I might pick up Survivability Expert. Just to give that little bit of extra staying power. Might be very handy. If you're a person that likes to be aggressive, then Vigilance is really useful, especially since it stacks with the German Hydro. So that might be nifty as well. Alternately, you could pick up, say, Last Stand and even Expert Loader, although at 6-second reload, I don't know that you really care about Expert Loader much. High Alert, Joad is okay. High Alert might be the better of the two if you wanted to go that route, but honestly, it's up to you. It's so nice, though, that you don't have to worry about IFHE. It really does give you a lot of flexibility in terms of what you can do with that ship. Now, some people have been saying, "Oh, well, she's just a you know, a Talon," because the Talon was also a Hipper class ship that was, I believe, sold or given to the Russian Navy after World War II. So some people are saying, well, the Talon's coming out on the tech tree line, so why don't I just wait for the Talon to come out? There's a few big differences. Again, this is a work in progress ship, so all of this data, all this information can and probably will change. So that's something important to note too, is what people are saying right now is based off the current stats. We don't know if that's going to stay the same. But if you look at the artillery, the 180mm guns, these guns are better served firing AP. And if they are shooting HE, they're 30mm, which means 30mm a pen, which means IFHE is necessary in order to do damage to most battleships, whereas the mines already gets it built in. The torpedoes are different as well. The torpedoes on this ship are 4km instead of 6. Again, this is all subject to change, but I just want to put it out there that yeah, you can get another Hipper hull for free, I guess, with the tech tree, but it's a totally different ship, so I wouldn't look at it the same way. All right, give me a sec to just take a look at the chat here just to see what's going on, make sure I'm answering anybody's questions, and then we'll go into replay here. How does it compare to the Bayard? Similar except for the... Yeah, so Kane, let's now that you asked that question, let's pull that up. Here's the Bayard, and let me throw my... I don't know, I guess I'll just throw my Henri captain on it. Are you my... You're my clever captain. Where's my Henri captain? Are you sitting in reserve too? No? I went and... Oh, okay, I haven't... I went and respec'd all of my captains for free because of the IFHE change, so I'll just throw my clever captain on it, just so it's got a captain. But the big difference here, these are 152s that also only pen 30mm because it's 1/5 versus 1/4. So you can see the difference in that 1/4. IFHE is also necessary for the Bayard if you want to damage battleships, but you get it for free with the mines. And then reload time, actually the mines fires a little bit faster. Now if you look at fire chance at 15%, HE at 22, let's take a look at the mines is. So slightly less, actually about 500 less damage per HE shell hit, and then about 4% less fire chance. So you're giving up a little bit, but keep in mind that if you're going to run the Bayard and you want to pen battleship, you have to run IFHE, so you take that 15% fire chance and divide it by 2. So suddenly the mines looks a little bit better in that regard, doesn't it? For the viewers, please compare the rate of fire with the Tech Tree Tier 8 gold standards. Cleveland, Chapayev. Okay. So I just kind of did that with the Bayard. And we can definitely take a look at some of the other ones. So let's go with everybody's favorite, the Cleveland. Where's the Cleveland? There's the Cleveland. Also 152s, and you can see here 13%, so 2% better fire chance. But again, you're probably going to want to put IFHE on the ship, so you're gonna lose out a little bit there. You also notice the reload time is half a second longer. So the Mainz actually is a spammier ship than the Cleveland, which is hilarious because the Cleveland is quite a spammy ship in her own right. What else did you guys say? You wanted me to take a look at the Chapayev. Here's the Chapayev, 8 seconds. Although these, of course, are the railguns because they're, you know, the Russian railguns. So there's a slight difference there as well. But even then, IFHE needed if you want to pen the battleship hull. So there you go. Charles Martel. Oh, these are 203s. We don't care about 203s. What else is 155s at this tier? Italians? Italians have SAP, so that doesn't really matter. Alright, well, any other questions in chat you guys want to ask about the mines before we go into a replay that I took out of her last week? I'm doing this again because I kind of screwed things up a little bit, and I had work in progress logo up on the top, and I didn't want to do that, so... Cthulhu, you're a little excited with that, huh? I think she's a great co-op ship, like seriously. This is a ship if you want to be stupid aggressive. Yeah, you can kind of do it. It's kind of fun. So, alright, let's go ahead and pull up the replay. Just give me a moment while I load that up. Come on, game. Game is thinking. There we go. Took a sec for the game to drop, so game's gonna load up. While it's loading up, a chance to double check with chat, see what's going on. After you're done with the mines, maybe thoughts on the German CV announcement. All right, sure thing, Crow Panzer. We can do that as we get started in the replay segment of the day. Absolutely. And for those of you guys who were curious to know what our replay schedule is, I'm posting that in chat right now. So I took the ship out last week, and of course I get stuck at a tier 10 game. This is what everybody hates when you play tier 8, right? Oh my freaking god, a tier 10. Fortunately, no carriers involved, so I lucked out there. Now, the Mainz, I said, is a spammy ship. You really want to play her like an Atlanta, or a Flint, or a Worcester, or a Colbert. It's the kind of ship that you need to park behind islands in order to make them really work well in your favor. You'll see here, I start turning to the left, and then I think to myself, I remembered that to myself. Hey, I don't want to open water with this ship. I want to play by islands. So I immediately started changing direction. And I start heading towards where the islands are. Yeah, Diesel, I have pushed to talk in Discord, and I just got tired of holding down the button. Sorry, man. But anyway, I'll try to remember that as we continue on, man. But so I'm looking at a couple islands here as very strong, and actually I'm gonna have to disconnect these for a sec so I can go. Actually, no, I can kind of still do this. So some strong positions for these ships is like right behind this island here, either on this side of the island or on this side of the island. Are very strong positions for the ship. If you can fire your shots over, right over that long range, you can spam, 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 and you're good. This map also gives you another really good spamming island, which is right over here. Same kind of deal. Although this side, it's a little bit exposed for ships that have pushed around on the 1-2 line, so you have to be careful there. You have to be ready to basically run away in a jiffy if you have to.
Enemy force sighted on the horizon.
Eisenhower's, what's up, man? How's it going? Good to see you. So you can see I tried to slow down here. I was busy talking with people about the islands and stuff, and I got a little bit too far forward. It happens, and I actually, if you look at the mini-map, I have a buddy, excuse me, who's gonna come in, and he's gonna share my spot, for lack of a better way of saying, which is fine. But you can see here, I get out of position, so I speed up so I can beach myself on the shoals here, and then back up, and in the process I get myself detected. It tells me, of course, there's a destroyer in the cap, so all I can do now is just take a few luck chuck shots as I'm waiting to get behind the island, and you can see now I'm completely safe. There's from the center of my ship to them, there's this island in the way, so I have the ability now to shoot for free over that island. And of course I want to shoot, but my buddy's here, so I shot anyway, and I clipped him. Oh well. But Georgia's got, I believe, 38 millimeter deck, so I still pen Georgia deck with the ship. Any of the American battleships I can pen deck wise, along with French, British, because those are 32s.
Concentrate fire on the target.
So, you know, kind of nifty. And you can see this position here, I'm a little bit too close to the island for closer shots, but farther away shots I'm able to arc my shells over without a problem.
Reporting the target position.
I'm hitting F3 on the destroyer there because, of course, we want to encourage the team to shoot that destroyer and get him out of the board. He beaches himself, which I guess is very fortuitous for us, especially because there's a Chapayev right there who can radar into that smoke.
Fire on the enemy warship.
And there goes radar from the Worcester. So that Akizuki's fate is sealed at this point. And I'm using the torpedoes here just to gain an idea of how fast this guy's moving. Is he moving full speed? Is he slowing down? You can see now he's starting to slow down. So I know to start aiming closer to the center of his ship. And I didn't get the kill, but I still got a lot of damage on him. A lot of hits. And I'm pretty happy with that. As I see the Smolensk sees me and thinks food. So of course I'm gonna hollow back at him a little bit. Plus there's nobody else for me to shoot right now. Now, I've got the German Hydro, so I feel relatively safe from destroyer pushes. Plus, for a while at least, these guys are out on the side that can kind of spot torpedoes and screen for me. So, I'm not feeling so insecure at this point as I've moved up to this next island. And that next island, I'm getting spotted, but the main idea is I need to block myself from the Georgia. Here's the Georgia somewhere over here. You can see him on the mini map, right? He's right over here. So I need this top part of the island to block me and the Georgia. See, there's the Georgia. Hydro is on because I know there's a gearing out here someplace. I'm still detected, so there's something over here. And I want to make sure, of course, that I don't get surprised by those torpedoes. My 6-kilometer torpedoes are getting excited because the Georgia is at 6.2 kilometers from me and approaching, which makes me think this might be a good opportunity to torpedo, but unfortunately it turns away. I do have advantage of smoke here from the gearing, but of course I've got 8.4 kilometer smoke firing penalty, which is pretty high considering these are you know, 150 millimeter guns. But fortunately for me, he's busy on the booster, at least for right now. You can see I lost detection because we have that island get between us. So that tells me that the daring's back and nobody else is really up in our grill. So I can afford to be a little bit more aggressive with my positioning here. And as you can see, the Worcester goes down, and that makes me think to myself, well, crap. Because, you know, he might turn and look at me, but instead he's looking at the Chapayev, who's probably a better target for him. And I pick up a hood ornament.
The ship is on fire. Problem solved, sir.
A little bit of extra bow armor, because the ship needed it, you know. A little spaced armor here. I'm turning around completely because I know that Smolensk is there, and I know that all he's going to do is farm me if he can. See, as predicted, he starts opening up. So I'm going to duck behind this island again, and just kind of use this as an opportunity to fire back at him. This is a bodyguard moment indeed, Wind. He wasn't very happy of that, as you can see in his chat. He's asking if it's my first game. To which I respond, negative, but you know. And yes, I'm nudging him into hard cover. We'll go with that. We'll go with that. Daring coming up. This is very, very ballsy of him, but he wants to kill the Chapayev, I guess. So he opens up, gives me an opportunity to hit him with some shells. I'm able to do some work, not too much. And he's a very smart player, saw that he was being shot at, smoked up and ran. And since now I'm not detected anymore, and I don't think that these HE spamming ships are going to have much of a angle on me in the future, I decided ECP and stay back. But notice, look how long my fire range is. This goes back up to what Diesel was saying earlier with his clanmate. You got the ability to stay at very long range and shoot. Not quite the range of some of the other German ships. I off the top of my head can't remember what Hipper and Eugen's range are. I think they're like 18 something. But it's still pretty far away to be able to help that. 99 Luftballons, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate it. So anyways, getting back to the game, I had a chance on the Smolensk. I took it. I figured now's my chance to get him back. Get a couple lucky salvos over that, I don't know, is that a cathedral, church? Cathedral? Probably cathedral. Hey, Puddin'. No problem, man, no problem. So I'm looking at the mini-map. We've won C, but we haven't capped C, which is kind of weird. So I'm seeing that Des Moines, I'm figuring, alright, Des Moines got C capped, no problem. We'll get B. A is still kind of uncertain because of, well, there was a black, the Smolensk, and then the Kurfürst coming this way now. So I'm thinking to myself, the last thing that I want to do is get caught out at A. As you can see, the Smolensk sees me and once again wants to farm me. Chapayev coming up. So at this point I'm thinking I'm really glad that I didn't go into A. A lot of people might have had that instinct to go into A. Now look at the other spam coming in my way. This tells me that the daring is back behind the island there, and he's shooting at me from long range. And of course, one of those shells hits me and sets me on fire. Go figure.
The ship is on fire.
So I'll holler back a little at him. I don't think I can hit him from this range, but that's okay. Take a couple of shots, you never know. Besides, nothing else going on.
Concentrate fire.
No worries, Cthulhu, no worries. GMC Yukon, how's it going? And so again, I'm looking at the situation now. For some odd reason, our Des Moines did not cap C. He actually backed out of C, which I'm just like, oh my god, facepalm, right? Because we need those points to tick up. We're not getting any points, and the enemy is getting two point ticks.
Torpedoes
So
ahead. Attention.
at this point,
Boarding the target.
I guess all I can really do is farm some more ships, try to get them to shoot at me, and use the fact that, you know, I can dodge to a certain degree, and that I'm relatively healthy to my advantage. So here comes some more spam shells, so I know where the daring is. There he is. And oh, by the way, I'm running loot gens, so fireworks, although they don't render, I guess, in replays. Oh well.
The ship is on fire. All stations requesting fire on the designated
Another risky decision to DCP that one fire there, but I figured I didn't think he was going to shoot me anymore. I'm pretty sure I was outside of his range, so I wasn't afraid of it. I'm looking again at the mini-map, and I really wish this Mossville would have stayed kind of up here-ish and opened up a second flank, because with him over here and me over here and the rest of our team over here, you'll note the triangle on the mini-map. We're basically isolating ourselves into a corner. So noticing that, I decide it's time for me to go out wide and open up another flank. And you can see I'm starting to position myself for long-range fire as opposed to being up close to islands. That part's I've given up on that at this point.
affirmative. All stations requesting fire on the designated target.
And we got the chance to shoot at the Chapayev, so I might as well. Again, at pretty max range. And I'm looking again at the score. We're tied up on ships, but we're down by quite a bit on points. But we get the Smolensk, that's important. And I'm looking at the fact that there's a Worcester sitting right here, and we've got 3 destroyers that are really close to that Worcester. Like, why would you put yourself in that position as a destroyer player? But, oh well. So once again, we gotta farm. So, moving this way because again, I need to open up that front. I need to keep these ships busy and focused on me, so that my team can reposition themselves. Moskva's getting C, which is important. Those are points that we desperately need. And oh, look who's there! Who's there? That's the Kurfürst. But the Kurfürst hasn't really noticed me. So, all right, let's set him on fire.
The enemy is about to win.
Gearing torpedoes the Wooster. Brilliant torpedo action by the Gearing there. Hey, Flipborovka, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. What would be the advantage of this ship over a similar light firebug like a Kutuzov or Chapayev? That's a good question. So I find that the Kutuzov, as long as it's got smoke, is definitely a problem ship. But once it runs out of smoke, it has to do basically what I'm doing anyway. And don't forget that 1/4 HE pen is huge, especially if it's top tier. Unfortunately, I was in a bottom tier match, so you can see the penetration hits here versus non-pens. My shells are bouncing off of the deck, so I'm forced to shoot at the superstructure of the curve first to get those HE pens. But, you know, Chapayev and Kutuzov would run into the same problems. Now, I don't have radar, of course. I do have German Hydro, which will detect ships out to, I believe, 6 kilometers. Yep. So that's kind of nice. The other thing that I think that this ship has going for it is its armor scheme. It's a much tankier ship, in my opinion, than those two Russian light cruisers. And I feel like it's a little bit more maneuverable too. It's got a tighter turning circle, which does allow you to kind of dodge shells a bit easier. You can see how now the curve first is shooting back at me, but I was able to kind of mitigate some of that with my armor. And now I'm in a stupid long-range fight with the Chapayev. This is a fight that, quite frankly, could go either way. It all depends on the accuracy of our aim here, and our fire RNG. My RNG is probably a little bit stronger than his in terms of fires, so I'm hoping that I can get this guy, or some of my teammates could take him out. And as you can see there, Des Moines comes in with a brilliant AP salvo. And I think that kind of demonstrates some of the difference between the two ships too. If I was in that same position there, I probably still would have gotten Citadel by the Des Moines, but I think I would have had the ability to turn quicker and react quicker to that AP shell. Trying to find out the niche for it? Yeah, that's fine, Wincries, no problem. That's why I'm doing the review here. Now, the Kutuzov does have 8-kilometer torpedoes, and the Chapayev's got 4, so the Kutuzov wins in the torpedo department. So it's got that going for it. But, and the Chapayev's got radar. So each ship is going to be different, and I think that's the important thing for this. This is definitely more of an island-hugging ship, that if you needed to charge in and YOLO, you could probably get away with it because of the torpedoes, the armor protection scheme, and the German Hydro. Those tools make it very good for people that like to be very aggressive with their shots. Montana is up here, so I figured, well, I'll just go ahead and farm the Montana for a little bit. Yep. It's got a lot going for it, absolutely. Montana's coming back around the corner. And at this point, we've managed to pull them back from defeat, and there you go. So I hope this helps to kind of describe a little bit about what to expect with the Mainz. She's a comfortable ship, but you have to kind of play her right. You have to play her as a more cautious ship, or a super extreme aggressive ship. She's a great late game ship if you want to. If you think about it, the Kutuzov, like when you were asking earlier, I think that the Kutuzov is a much stronger early to mid-game ship because it's got the smoke. Whereas I think the abilities of the Mainz kind of give it that ability to just jump right in at the end when either you're going to win or you're going to lose and just destroy whatever you want to. Or get destroyed yourself, one or the other, right? So, any other questions about the Mainz, guys? Or are we good to put that away and start doing our replay analysis.